Hey there, welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. My name is Katie, and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. And even though we are smack dab in the middle of soup season, we are officially in the middle of gumbo weather in Louisiana. So our lows got into the upper 30s last night, I think, and I think tonight's supposed to get down to 34. So it is gumbo weather. So in the middle of our soup series, we are going to do our gumbo. So yesterday I went on and boiled 2 chickens, and if you haven't seen my chicken boiling / chicken broth video, I'll put it in the card up here at the top, and you can go see if you're interested in boiling your own chicken. Some people just will debone a rotisserie chicken or saute up some chicken breasts and chicken thighs and use boxed broth, whatever your method is. But if you're interested in boiling your own chicken and making broth so that you can control your ingredients, I suggest, if you've never done it, you can watch my video. And so I have 3 of these 1.5 containers of deboned chicken. I poured some broth over the top of this so it didn't dry out. And then I put my bones back into this pot and have been boiling them for about 24 hours. Put a little apple cider vinegar in there so it pulls all the good nutrients and collagen out of the bones. And so that's been boiling in there for about 24 hours. And then last night, well, 2 days ago, my son's neighbor gave him some black drum that he had caught and gave it to us. And so we grilled that last night. And so in the process of the grill being on, I said, hey, can you grill up my sausage for me for the gumbo? So we did grill the sausage ahead of time, which you do not have to do. You can just cook it in the skillet, in the microwave, however you want to kind of start rendering some of that fat out so your gumbo isn't as greasy. We used Kaneka sausage, and I will put a picture right here. Of that in case you've never seen it or want to look for it. And I've chopped up my vegetables, and we're going to move over to the cast iron Dutch oven and get our gumbo started. Alright, so I have my cast iron Dutch oven here. I have it on low so it would kind of heat up. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. This isn't a process that you want to do quickly when you're making your roux. That's what we're going to start with. And let's see. Like most things in Cajun cooking, it's not an exact science. Typically, roux are equal parts flour and oil, but I try to cut back on the amount of oil I'm using. So I'm using this avocado oil here. I've bought avocado oil before. And I'm going to use about 3/4 of a cup of oil to about a cup of flour, just to kind of try and cut that oil back. So we'll get this oil in here first. And I'm going to throw my flour in here. And roux is not something you want to rush. If you've been making it a long time, you might feel a little bit more comfortable turning it up, but you really have to keep an eye on it. So we've got about a cup of flour here. When I made crawfish pies for you back early on, one of my first videos, back in, I think, May, because Mother's Day we had boiled some crawfish, and then I made crawfish pies with the leftover crawfish. I kind of went through the process of making a roux there, and I kind of did it like a sped up version so you can kind of see how it changes colors. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to babysit this until we get the color we want it to be. And you pretty much have to stir it constantly. In the past, I would make my roux in the microwave. That is pretty easy. So if you have like an 8-quart batter bowl, 8-cup batter bowl, not quarts, the big measuring cup. I'm reading my recipe from when I was a kid, and I wrote this from my mom. In the microwave, you would do your flour and oil in the batter bowl, cook it for 4 minutes and stir it. And then you do it a minute at a time and stir it each time. And then when it starts getting close to the color you want, then you would go down to 30 seconds at a time. And you would keep stirring in between every one of those breaks so you don't burn it. And be careful because it can get so hot in the microwave. So that is a little faster to do it that way, but if you're going to already dirty your pot and you have a pot you can cook your roux in, just go ahead and do it that way. And here's my pot. My chicken has been simmering in. I don't bring my chicken to a boil. I think I told you that in my other video. I simmer it so it doesn't get kind of mealy, the chicken texture. And then also it's better for you not to boil your bones, just to simmer them to draw out all those nutrients. So this is going to be about 30 minutes. So we'll come back when we get to the desired color. Alright, this is where we're at. We are trying to get in between like a peanut butter and a milk chocolate color. I don't like mine chocolate color. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just whatever you like, kind of your taste that you like. So that's what I'm trying to get at. When you use cast iron, you have a more even cooking temperature on your skillet or your cookware, whatever you're using. It's a more consistent temperature. It's also very healthy for you to use cast iron. I don't know if you've heard before about different metals from your cookware leaching into your food, but we all need iron in our diet, and people even take iron pills. And so cast iron is actually good for you because you get a little bit of that iron every time you cook in your food. I know that kind of sounds scary, but that is actually a health benefit for you to use cast iron. See how quickly this is changing even just since we've come back on. Or pretty much to a peanut butter color. So we're looking to get to that almost chocolatey color. My onion harvest didn't do so well this year, but I am happy to say, or my celery, I did make celery salt with my celery green tops that I got. I didn't get any celery stalks. But my bell pepper is from my garden, and I didn't have any green onions to put in here, so I have chives from my garden, and then I have parsley from my garden. And then my garlic didn't do anything this past year either. But you know, this is my first year gardening really, and it's all a big learning curve. And we'll just see what we do for next year. I'm about to actually plant my garlic. To get my beds amended. That I pulled my pepper plants out yesterday because the temperatures are going to be getting so low. I just harvested all the peppers, pulled the pepper plants out, and I made some hot sauce last night. Made some hot sauce. It's kind of a weird color because it's sugar rush peach peppers and jalapenos and they're mixed together. But we're guessing about 15 pounds of peppers I'm trying to deal with. Alright, I'm going to turn it down a little bit more because we're getting close, I think. Some people like to get their roux really dark, and I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I'll eat it, and I'm not going to turn my nose up to it, for sure. I just prefer it not as dark. And when you're starting to get close to that color you want, you really have to pay attention. And always depending on what you're making as to what color roux you want too. I mean, sometimes you need a blonde roux if you're making like a cheese sauce. You don't really want any color in it, just you're trying to get the raw taste out of the flour. Because the flavor changes the darker the roux gets. And after we put our vegetables in here, it will continue to darken too, so you got to take that into account. Alright, that's about the color I'm going for. We'll get the vegetables in here. Like I said, it will continue to get dark. I have one regular size white onion here. I have 2 ribs of celery, and I have 3 small bell peppers. We'll get these cooking. that root already looks darker now. All right, I'm going to smash my garlic in here. I have a small handful of garlic here. Again, when you're cooking, it's to your taste. This root almost smells like coffee. I'm going to make some garlic bread to go with this. We either serve it usually with saltines or some crispy garlic bread. A couple of weeks ago I showed you some really good French baguettes from Costco. And what I've done is I've just baked the baguette, and then I'm going to slice it and mix some garlic butter together, butter it, and then put it back in the oven to toast them up, to make it like a crostini. Alright, we're just looking to get these vegetables a little soft. In the freezer section here, I don't know if they do everywhere, they sell what's called a seasoning blend that's got onion, celery, bell pepper, green onions, and parsley already chopped up for you. Alright, so at this point, we are going to add our chicken stock. What I'm going to do is dip out of here and then pour it through my strainer. Just be careful. I should have counted how many cups I'm putting in. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that was about 8 cups, I think. It's a 2-cup measure. I didn't really pay attention. Maybe I'll look when I go back and edit the video. I can look, but it's a 2-cup measure, and they weren't always full. But I'll leave it a little bit of room because we have our meat to put in here still. So I'm going to grab that real quick. Here's the sausage. This is about 1.5 pounds of the smoked sausage. And then this is the chicken. There's a little bit of broth in here too. You can see the gelatinous of it from the cooking the bones. That's really good for you. The collagen in there. It's really good for your bones and joints. I think that's enough chicken. I'm going to save that last container of it and just put it in the freezer. So that was 3 pints of chicken with broth that I just added. All right, so now we're going to add our chives, which typically you know use green onions. And then just a little bit of parsley. This is my Cajun seasoning I make. I sell it on Etsy. There's less salt in this than typically that you buy at the grocery store. Salt is one of the least amount of volume-wise ingredients in my seasoning. There's no paprika. It's only the cayenne pepper. The red part is only from cayenne pepper. All right, we're going to add a little bit of freeze-dried garlic powder here. And some freeze-dried onion powder. Since my Cajun seasoning is very low in salt, I'm always going to add a little bit of salt to this. This is my Redmond real salt. All right, we're going to let this simmer for about an hour. We'll taste it and see how we're doing on our seasonings. And in the meantime, I'm going to get my garlic bread going and my rice, and we'll come back together to taste this and see how we did. All right, here's our pot of gumbo. You can skim that off, or if you just stir it around, it kind of moves out of your way when you go to ladle it. Usually gumbo is better the next day, so if you put this in the fridge, that grease fat layer will become thick and you can just kind of almost peel it off. So we're having this for dinner tonight. I was planning on having it for dinner tomorrow night, but kind of time got away from me, so we're having this for dinner tonight. And these are the French bread that I was talking about. I try to slice them kind of thin, and garlic butter on there so they're kind of crispy. I did them on 350 so that they would get crispy, almost like a cracker. And then we have some filet here to top our gumbo with. You could do hot sauce. I'm not a fan of like a Tabasco sauce just because I don't like the vinegar taste. So we have our rice here. And like I said, I'm going to stir this around to kind of move that fat layer out. Just spooning some up. We'll give it a little sprinkling of the filet. There's always a controversy. Do you put the filet in while you're cooking it or when you serve it? So the way we've always done it is because sassafras or filet is ground up sassafras leaves. It will thicken your gumbo, but we use the roux to thicken it while we're cooking it, and then this is for flavor. And the other controversy is whether you put tomatoes in your gumbo. And it's kind of a joke. I don't know if it's just my house or just South Louisiana, but if you're anywhere north of Alexandria, you're from the north. And so we say people from the north put their tomatoes in their gumbo. But I'm sure somebody's going to argue with that. That's fine. You can put tomatoes in your gumbo if you want. My mom actually puts tomatoes in her seafood gumbo. I don't, so. All right, we're going to let this cool off for just a second. One of the things we like to do is to dip our garlic bread in here, and it soaks up all that juice. It's so good. So we'll pull the camera down or up at me, and we will get a taste of this together. All right, let's get a taste. It's super hot, so we'll have to blow on it. And we'll get a taste of that bread real quick. See, the bread's still a little crunchy, even though it's been soaking in that juice for a few seconds. Let's set that down. I'm just going to get a little bite right now because it is super hot. You can see the steam coming off. I wonder if you can you see the steam coming off? Hot. Not too spicy for me. I'm actually going to add, I don't make it terribly spicy so that everybody can individually spice it themselves. I'm going to add a little bit of my Cajun seasoning to it. My husband likes to add Tabasco for his extra spice, so everybody just kind of does something different as to how they like it. But I hope you give this a try when it's coming into gumbo weather and need to warm up a little bit. Gumbo is the perfect dish to do that. You can freeze this, you make a big old pot, you eat half of it, you freeze the rest of it, you have it another time. I love having soup like this, especially gumbo. And like I said, it's always better left over. The flavors kind of meld together from the roux and the vegetables and everything, and it gives it more flavor the next day. So I hope you give this a try. If you'd like to see more of my recipes and more of what's going on in Louisiana as we kind of go through this learning about the garden and the chickens and just different things around the state, you can hit subscribe and follow along. And thank you for watching. See you next time.